Political areas are always related to fire. In USA, UK, even London or in Europe. To understand fire, it's not easy. Fire, it's not related only to the political films, but also to other things that we think about. Of course, when you think about American dollar or $20, but also euros, you can also think about different type of funds and funding. We also have a fund, but it's a fund built from different type of information. This is where we can help people to build better community. The communities are important, but if you'll analyze everything, on the end you'll get very, very strange results, because in political dimensions not everything is very logical. In UK, of course, they have different stories than in America and in Europe. But you must know that every great film about government was once good, but as you move to Australia, Russia, or somewhere else, maybe Ireland, you'll figure it out that everything is fiction. To understand fiction, it's not so easy, and if you think that this is not real, but it's only a piece of paper, you'll also figure it out that ministries are also fiction everywhere. So, when we think about different type of life stories, novelists, legendary stories about government, we must really ask ourselves about legends, about Arthur, or different type of mysteries. Not everyone in this life believes in Jesus. Of course, some people are religious, but some people also think that Jesus was not very religious human. No matter how rich or poor you are, on the end you'll need funds to support you. Our funds also support different type of sketches than human can make, but those sketches are actually branded. Those are part of our corporate designs. Not everything have big logic, but if you put things together, you might figure it out that behind every symbol there is also incredible power in philosophy, but also good people that are designing our world. For example, here we can see the element that transforms 10 volts in 20 volts. So it's actually making funds and money. To understand printing machines, it's also not easy. In GUI, we develop different type of methods related to France also, but it's not always easy. We also work with Slovenia, Hrvatska and Italy, and some of those there are very, very great scientists. For kids, of course, stories are different. And some stories are about wars 1, 2, and 3. Those are also related to diseases in history. The history is not only white, but it's also a very, very dark movie. So, when you think about exciting thematics, you should think about fire. Fire, it's burning until you'll shut it down. So when you think about fire, you should also think about different type of movies about history. To understand history, it's not always easy. Sometimes we also look for the things where fire was made. And when it comes to different type of politics, of course, those thematics are not easy. Sometimes humans must protect the fire, but also stories and fairy tales. There is a lot of fairy tales in politics, but also the stories about religions. To understand precise factories or printing, it's also not easy. Or how colors are made, or ink for different type of novelists, not only in Canon, Pixel, but also in GUI and other brands. To understand how to store things properly, it's also not easy. Sometimes we must work a lot, but not always. If you have any fonts, you'll also see you might study Jesus and Maria, not because of yourself, but because of different type of principles that humans believes in. In that way, you can understand different type of hopes of humans. Some humans also have pets and animals. And you must also understand that not every human is perfect. Not every font is perfect also. If you'll go around the world, you must also consider to make diverse picture. Sometimes we think that pictures are easy to make, but it's not always in that way. To understand Europe, UK and America, it's not easy. But sometimes we humans must go on the great adventure and to recognize the symbols that would make us better. Sometimes real maps and sometimes fiction maps in life. Diverse lands humans sell and humans buy, and different type of investors. Of course, you can use ledgers, but also banks and banks wallets, which is basically the same. To understand politics, it's not always easy. Sometimes politics are very, very difficult. But not all politics are difficult. Some politics are precise, and some are not as much precise as we think. Our fonts also include different types of films. In life, it's not everything black and white. Sometimes you must also look on politics from the fiction point. To understand politics, it's not easy. Sometimes those include a lot of fiction. The political fiction, of course, it's quite difficult. And when it comes to politics or sound, we would like to represent you the Mozart. The Mozart is actually from fiction life, but it really belonged to the world. It had slightly longer nose, but it was really unsure if he was not genius. Myself also playing piano, but not as well as the best musicians in the world. The tools in micro ends are not perfect. But every picture is also a tool. Sometimes it's not easy to understand all those pictures. Sometimes pictures are related to the history of the government or different type of plans that did or didn't succeed. To understand different type of humans, but also what digital spaces are building for others. To understand those parts is also important if you like to succeed. We also have different type of funds. Some are more political and some less. Some are made from movies and some are not. Some of those funds even have money, but not all of them. If everything in this world was made from fire, on the end we will return to the fire. Maybe, just maybe, we are just great spirits.